Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and I'm here to talk to you about a Leeds United based sponsor on the channel, teamwallart.com. The link is in the description. Worldwide shipping, and it's unbelievable, guys. As I've told you before, this is the sort of stuff that you can get from these guys. My favourites on the end here, accused of everything, guilty of nothing since 1919. You can get this one for $5.99 if you buy another one for $7.99, and I did that. I've got the one of Marcelo Bielsa here, a beautiful image, really good quality as well, by the way, and of course the title winning boys. Some really good stuff on there, guys. As I said, the link is in the description. I went to these guys. I love this sort of stuff, and they are Leeds United. Check it out. Enjoy the video. One Leeds is now sponsored by One Football. One Football is a really classy app. You can get all of your Leeds United updates on this app. You can get all the transfer news, injury news, match day news, and it really is top quality. The most downloaded app regarding football on the site. So make sure you go check it out. The link is in the description, and I hope you enjoy the video, guys. Yes, everybody, I hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor, and we are back here with another stream. It is your Newcastle preview. The teddy in the background is my girlfriend's, I promise you. Thought I'd just make you aware of that one. But we are here, and listen, massive game for Leeds United, and we're in front of the cameras again on Tuesday night against a Newcastle United side who are completely out of form, completely out of colour, and we are here to talk about that. So as I say, guys, I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Get your comments in the section below. I hope you're having a good weekend. Not wrong with the teddy, says Lee. Honestly, mate, it is my girlfriend. I'm just letting you know. It's no coincidence that when Cooper starts, every time Cooper starts, we struggle to keep a clean sheet. This level is too much for him. I'm looking forward to Llorente and Koch at centre-half with Ayling at right-back. I'd probably disagree with you there, Nick. I think there's been a couple of occasions where Cooper's been very, very good this year. We're going to talk about tactically anyway in a little bit. You guys are probably going to be quite surprised by what I have to say in this stream. But the big news is Leeds have a new signing. It's the pitch. We've got a 340 grand pitch from Tottenham Hotspur. Thank the Lord. Been rumours apparently that Bielsa's gone absolutely nuts at the fact that, you know, Leeds are playing on Shrek's bog, his swamp. It's that bad. It's an awful pitch, the worst in the league. And thank God we've got a temporary measure to sort and stop the rot of Ellen Road, as I like to call it. But yeah, I mean, we're going to take that game ahead against Leicester against Everton, and that pitch is going to be laid, thank goodness. But yeah, let's get on to it anyway, and let's get on to the Newcastle game. So going ahead, it's a big game, isn't it, against the Toon? It's one that Leeds probably need to win. I say probably. It's a game that we need to win, and the reason I say that is because if we don't win the game, there's going to be a lot of talk about how Leeds are falling apart again, this, that, and the other. I think it's a lot of media hype, to be quite honest with you. But, you know, that can feed into the players. It would be 4 games lost on the bounce, and we would break the duct of Newcastle being a shambolic side this season and being literally, for me, the worst side in the division to watch. So, yeah, I think this is a must-win game for Leeds United. If we don't win it, I'm not going to be completely downhearted, but that's because of the first half of the season. I think if we get a point, I'd be all right with that. But at the end of the day, I want a win. We need to be getting a win here. I think we're going to have too much for them. I'm really confident for this game, to be quite honest with you. But there are some things to talk about as well. So Newcastle, how are they going to start? This is the big thing. This is the big thing for how Leeds are going to start as well. There's a lot of people talking about Llorente. There's a lot of people talking about him coming straight in at centre-back. I'm going to get onto that in a little bit, but I think Newcastle will start 4-4-2. I think you're going to see Carroll starting up front. You're going to see Wilson starting up front, which is a little bit different to what Leeds faced last time. I had no idea why Newcastle didn't bring on Andy Carroll. Completely baffling to say it was sort of 3-2 and they were looking at making changes. They were going on the offensive against Leeds United, and Leeds are so susceptible from set pieces. Bruce, for me, what was he saying earlier on? The gloves are off. I'm going to play how I want to play now. Well, how have you been playing for the last, year then, Steve? Has Mike Ashley been picking the team? He can't have been, because against Arsenal, you had 60 million quid's worth of strikers on the bench. And I'm sure if he was picking the team, Mike Ashley, those two would have started. So it is Steve Bruce. And the gloves are off rubbish. If the gloves are off and you're going to start playing attacking football against Leeds United, mate, which you apparently tried to do against Arsenal, that's good for us. That's much better for Leeds United. If you are going to start playing that way, they're going to leave spaces. It's going to be very, very beneficial for players like Rafinha, for players like Jack Harrison. So, massive differences, though, for Newcastle. Alan Saint-Maximin is apparently back from long COVID. We know that Lascelles is going to be back as well, which gives them an aerial threat. These are things that we need to be well aware of as Leeds United fans. If Bruce is a moron, then he won't start Almiron. Almiron gives them that energy. He gives them that pace. Is he going to start a 4-4-2 with Jacob Murphy potentially on the wing and Carroll up top? And we're going to see those long balls in consistently. But Andy Carroll he's a huge threat in the air. He might be, a lot of people still quote him as a bit of a donkey, but he's a big, big threat in the air. He's a big lad, elbows everywhere. And it's going to be a big, big task for Leeds United to keep him quiet if they are looking to exploit Leeds through set pieces and aerial exposure. The likes of Fraser on against for them as well, playing that full game. Who I thought, he set up both goals last time. I thought he did well against us last time as well. Right. What else have we got then? And as we spoke about, these are the second half of games, aren't they? It's the second half. It's where I think Leeds are going to be figured out a little bit more. I think you're going to get teams like Everton. I think you're going to get teams like potentially even West Bromwich Albion, who are going to set up against Leeds. Fulham in particular, very, very differently. I think, if you set up with three at the back, 3-4-3, and you press Leeds on the wings, it's very, very difficult for Leeds. We've seen that this season. When teams set up 3-4-3 against us, Leeds United massively struggle. Do I think Brucey Boy will do that against Leeds? I don't, because I don't think he's got that much tactical nous for some bizarre reason. I quote Jack Grealish earlier on in the week saying Steve Bruce at training at Villa used to just throw a ball into a middle of a pitch and say, go on, lads, just fight for it. Which I found quite comical. But tactically, against Arsenal, Newcastle made 8 changes. But the more surprising thing for Newcastle in that game was the fact that he brought Andy Carroll off and brought Murphy on, someone who can cross the ball into Andy Carroll. He made a change and brought Carroll off for him. Completely bizarre. It's completely bizarre, Steve Bruce, and I don't get him. I don't get him at all. Some of his decisions are absolutely bizarre. But I mentioned the second half of the season because I think teams are going to adapt to Leeds United, and I think that's where, in my personal opinion, we're not going to win as many games in this second half of the season. But I think there are going to be some games, i.e. potentially Manchester United, potentially Chelsea, where they're going to come to Leeds and think that they're going to be able to walk all over us. The likelihood is they'll be able to do that, but Leeds might surprise them on the day. We did with Arsenal, we have done with Manchester City. A lot of people in the comments section talking about Ilan Meslier coming back. Meslier still recovering. We don't know. We haven't been disclosed on Marcelo Bielsa's press conference yet. I'm hoping he's going to be back. If he's not back, then it's just how it is, innit? We've got to deal with it. There's no point in whinging about it. But Newcastle are playing tonight, which is a big deal. Newcastle playing Villa tonight. We're all fully expecting that they're going to lose to sort of a bit of a resurgent Villa in the past year. And if they do lose tonight, the pressure is going to be absolutely huge on Steve Bruce against Leeds United. It's going to be huge. It's a massive week for Newcastle United. A lot of us are talking about the pressure on Leeds. The pressure is more on Newcastle. Big club. Bruce is there to deliver. He's not delivering at this moment in time. The football's dire to watch. We saw that against Leeds United. And I was really... It was all right. Us against Newcastle, we scored 5 goals, but I was annoyed by it. And you guys might turn around and say, Connor, what are you talking about? We scored 5 goals. We're in the Premier League against another Premier League side who've been in the Premier League for 3 or 4 years. Obviously, probably more than that actually now. And we scored 5 goals. And I was annoyed. And that's the expectation. That's the ceiling that Marcelo Bielsa and those players have delivered to Leeds United. That is the ceiling of expectation we have. I was annoyed because they scored 2 goals. They shouldn't have got anywhere near to our goals. They were that bad in that game. They were so poor. They went 1-0 ahead. They scored another cheap goal from a set piece. And, it was until the last sort of 10 minutes when we stamped our counter-attacking authority that Leeds really got away from Newcastle. Bruce didn't really make the right changes, and it could have gone a different way. They could have nicked a point there and we'd have been kicking ourselves. So I'm expecting an even better performance from Leeds United this time. Do I think it'll be 5? Of course I don't. Do I think we could beat them by a margin? I certainly do. I certainly think if Leeds turn up on their day, if we're playing in 5th gear, they're in big trouble, Newcastle, because they leave a lot of spaces. I don't think they're diligent enough with the men, and I think we can completely outrun them. Mick Fanning's saying haven't scored in 2021. We haven't, and I understand that. But if you to cherry pick a certain game for Leeds United to play, it would be against Newcastle. Please do not derive comparisons with Newcastle and Brighton. They're completely different teams. Graham Potter's a very good manager. He has styles. He has a plan A. He has a plan B. Probably has a plan C in there. He also has about 3 squads worth of talent where he can draw on. He has a very, very good squad, de Brighton. Newcastle have a valuable squad, a very valuable squad. That doesn't transition and mean it's a good squad. And I don't think it really is at Newcastle. I think they've got a lot of aging players. And I think the major threat is Callum Wilson. You nullify him, Newcastle don't really have a plan. I think Brighton are in a false position. I've said this on the channel before. So please don't turn around and think that because we've lost to Brighton at home, we're not going to score against Newcastle. That could be the way forward, but saying we've not scored against Brighton, we're definitely not going to score against Newcastle. You can't draw comparisons. I think Brighton are a much better team, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, we've spoken about it tactically. Newcastle are playing tonight, which puts them at a lesser point coming into the Leeds game. They've played a game very, very close to our game. But we saw with Brighton, once again, they had 3 games in 6 days. Leeds had a big layoff. That doesn't always transition into wins, does it? It doesn't always transition into wins. So we need to be very careful of that fact. Now, a lot of you talking about, how are we going to start against Newcastle and how I would start against Newcastle? Well, because Newcastle, in my personal opinion, are going to be starting a 4-4-2 with potentially Andy Carroll and Wilson up front, or Joe Linton up front and Wilson, I think that we will go to a back 3. And I think we're going to start with a 3-3-1-3. We've seen this before. A lot of people turn around and probably say to me, Connor, it's not worked before. I would completely agree. I think when teams this year have played 2 up top and we've played 3 at the back, we've looked pretty woeful. I think we're not that, once again, diligent in the system. We don't play the system enough to be overtrained in it and to be able to know the patterns of play in that system nigh on very, very well, like we do in the 4-1-4-1 system, which has been, the system that we played for 80-85% of our time under Marcelo Bielsa. But the difference with the 3-3-1-3 against Newcastle United is the fact that they don't press high. They leave spaces, which means the 3-3-1-3 is going to be in greater effect, because essentially you're going to get the wing backs who are going to essentially have free reign, in my personal opinion. I think we're going to pin Newcastle back. I think there's going to be a bit of a defensive display, despite what Steve Bruce says about the gloves are off and all this sort of stuff. If the gloves are off, we'll adapt during the game. But if Newcastle are going to play 2 up top, then Leeds United are going to play 3-3-1-3. And as I said, did they press high enough to be able to exploit us? I don't think so. I'm comfortable with the formation Leeds will play and the personnel we'll have in there. A lot of you guys are talking about the team I would play. Would Llorente be in there, etc., etc.? Llorente would not be in there for me. Diego Llorente is not in there for me. Not this game. I want to see him. I understand the notion that he needs to get match fit. Newcastle's probably a good game for him to do so, but I think we have enough with what we have at this moment in time to be able to get it over the line against Newcastle. I think we've got enough. I don't think we have to throw Llorente in there. I think he needs to develop, get back into the squad. And, if he comes on for 45 in a certain game, or he comes on for 20, then we build his fitness up. Match fitness is a huge thing in football. Look, we all want to see our brand new shiny player start a game in the Premier League. Would I do that? No, I wouldn't, especially if we're playing a 3-3-1-3. I think it's a big ask to put Llorente back in there. So Meslier and net, obviously. Calvin Phillips is the big one here. Now, Calvin Phillips was absolutely superb in a back 3 against Burnley. I thought he was the best player on the pitch in a back 3. And the beauty about Calvin Phillips is he's physical, but even when he's in a back 3, he's got the vision. He's got the entire pitch to look at. very good at building us from the starter phases into midfield. And if we're playing the 3-3-1-3 system, I would go Meslier, Ayling, Coops and Struijk as a back three. I'd be happy with Dallas on the right side. I'd be very happy with Alioski on the left, because we're going to get insurmountable amounts of space in this game, in my personal opinion. And dependent on how they set up, dependent on how Newcastle set up, it could be a 5-4-1, it could be a 4-4-2. But if it is a 4-4-2, I would start Click and KP in the middle. Shock horror, a lot of you are going to be, wow about that, because that means that Rodrigo drops to the bench. I would be okay with that in this system. I would be okay with that in this game. I know Rodrigo was very good against Newcastle, but we can interchange. We can adjust this formation during the game. I'll start with Rafa on one side, Harrison on the other, and Bamford through the middle. That is how I would start, to be quite honest with you. I think there's been a bit of consistency with that. And if we wanted to put Rodrigo in there, what we can then do is we can put Calvin Phillips in a back three, which is what I was talking about before. Maybe Struijk is out. Struijk comes out of that back three. KP goes into a back three, and then you move Rodrigo next to Calvin Phillips. Next to Matthias Click. That's adjustable. That can be done during the game, but it depends how Marcelo Bielsa sets up. But I do think Newcastle go with the 4-4-2. So we have to think really how we're going to set up a 3-3-1-3. Do we want Llorente in there in a game like this, when he's not played any first team football really in such a huge game like this? They're not going to be pressing high on us. They're not going to be, for me, putting a lot of attacking output on Leeds United. I think we're going to have free reign on the wings. That's my personal point of view. I think you put Llorente in there, you're opening Leeds up a little bit to risk. He's played in an under-23s game. Expectations, guys. Under 23s, as we've seen against Crawley, is a different levels. As I've said before, we're not even in Premier League 1 in the under 23s. We're in Premier League 2. Okay, so it will be a huge step up for Llorente. Marcelo might think he's ready. He sees enough of him in training. He might be ready for it. I would stick with a back three of. I would drop Rodrigo for this game. I'd have Meslier, Ayling, Coops, Struijk as a back three. Dallas on one side, Alioski on the other, with all the time in the world. Click, KP in the middle, Harrison, Bamford, Rafa. But as I say, that can be interchanged to KP in a back three. Struijk goes out, Rodrigo comes in next to Click. That's what I would personally do. A lot of opinions coming in. A Click burnout, potentially. Yeah, definitely. Wow, Connor mixing it up. Yeah, I just think that's probably the way to go on my personal opinion. I think that's how we go. Connor, I think this is the perfect game for Llorente to play. I understand that. Newcastle, as I said, they're not going to be pressing high for me. Llorente is going to get a lot of time on the ball, but I just think right now you stick with what you know. We need this win. We need this win. I'm not going to say Llorente is going to come in and be awful, but throwing him into a 3-3-1-3 system, a system that he's not played. You forget against Chelsea, Giroud was the lone striker, so Leeds weren't playing a three at the back. So sticking him in there for his first professional game away, I just think it's a big ask. I'd rather him start in a 4-1-4-1 system, to be quite honest with you. A lot of people talking about Llorente. Yeah, I understand that, but I also think, we've got a shiny new sign in there, but we haven't seen enough of him. I've really liked Ayling at the back so far. I think he's been brilliant. Cooper kept Callum Wilson quiet. No one ever talks about it because it's unfashionable. League One Liam. League One Liam's rubbish and all this sort of stuff. Yada, yada, yada. Liam Cooper was absolutely brilliant against Callum Wilson last time. Struijk, I think, in a back three is the future, and he's elite. And I think right now, that's the best three we could go for. Get your comments in the section below about what you think about that. Obviously, football's a subjective. It's a game of opinions. The danger, John Joe Shelby is going to be featuring in this game. If John Joe Shelby plays, the delivery is also going to be a big factor for Leeds to deal with. And then you've got the Almiron energy. I don't understand why he didn't feature more last time. And then you've got Jamal Lascelles in there with Kieran Clark for the height. The big thing is going to be on set pieces, as I keep talking about. Meslier is going to have to be very, very attacking in this game. He's going to have to come out. He's going to have to be commanding. He's going to have to come and take the ball like he did against, like he's done in his previous games, really. He didn't massively do it against Newcastle, but he can't be rooted to the spot. If he's rooted to the spot in this game with the likes of Carroll, with the likes of Lascelles, with the likes of Clark, with the likes of Fabian Schär, we're going to concede from a set piece again. So he needs to be aggressive. He needs to be coming out and claiming it. And yeah, as I've said down here, you know, Calvin could be key. If you're wanting Rodrigo to start next to Matthias Klick, Calvin could be key in the back three. But at the same time, as I've said, I would like to see Rodrigo. I'm not saying that I wouldn't like to see Rodrigo at all. What I'm saying is, you know, defensively, if he is to play, I want to see a bit more from him. I want him to follow his man a little bit more. I want him to be defensively, you know, think about, you know, we know you can get forward. We know you can burst into the box. But for me, an added importance is for you to get back and stop that opposing man from getting into the box, to stop a Ben White from getting into the box. That's what I want you to do and work on as a footballer. Because in this system, we cannot be letting players go and centre midfielders maraud through our midfield, because, you know, you surpass this man-for-man system, Leeds United are in massive trouble. And I feel against Newcastle, first time we did okay. I think we did well. But we're a much better drilled team. I think they've got a higher calibre of player because they've been in the Premier League longer. But I think Leeds United should be able to do this. And I don't think Bruce is intelligent enough from a tactical perspective to go to a 3-4-3. He might prove me wrong. And if they do start a 3-4-3, I think Leeds could potentially struggle. But Roberts is the key for that. You know, if they do start a 3-4-3, I think Roberts has got to be introduced a little bit earlier. Okay. We've got Marcus Rashford in the chat. That's nice to see. Conor Llorente is a Spanish international. Yeah. And so what? So Rodrigo's a Spanish international. Would you say he's been our top 4, top 5 players this year? He's not, has he? He hasn't. So I understand that, but they have to be submersed in this Bielsa system. You know, they have to be able, you know, did Llorente completely stand out for you? You know, when he came on for Robin Koch, did he keep Giroud massively quiet? I'm not putting, you know, hatred on Llorente's name here. I'm as excited as you guys are. But I think the functional way Leeds playing a 3-3-1-3, has Llorente ever played in a 3-3-1-3 before for Bielsa's Leeds United in such a massive game like this? You know, one side of the argument is he could come in and do extremely well, and I agree with that because I don't think they're going to press as high. The other argument is, you know, that could be a target for Newcastle. He might be a Spanish international, but it's playing in a Bielsa system and playing for Spain. The levels are completely different on so many different spectrums. And I think it's dangerous to just say he's a Spanish international, so he'll be able to cope with it. Do you know what I mean? Because we've seen with Rodrigo this year, who's a Spanish international, Spain's number 9, he struggled this season. Hence why on my ranking video, I put him, me and Rob put him in average. And the reason is because we've got a glass ceiling of what Rodrigo should be at, you know, 30 million quid's worth. And, you know, I know he's in a new position and that was taken into account. But he's got to start tracking his man. And there's a reason he's been put in that, you know, but he's known from the start that Bielsa would put him in that position. And he's got to be able to track his man. And he's not done that so far. So I don't think he's hit those Rodrigo heights that I was expecting yet. So I think calling him a Spain international, which he is, but I think using that as a reason for him to start at this moment in time is it's missing out quite a lot. Lee Smith says Rodrigo is an attacking number 9. Asking to defend is new for him and learning. It is 100%. I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. If Rodrigo playing number 9, he would show what he's made of. It's a lot for asking him to defend, but he's never going to play that, mate. He's never going to play in the number 9. It's a void argument, bud. There's no point in even talking about Rodrigo playing number 9 unless Bamford gets injured. There's no point in talking about it. And we've seen him playing the number 9, even in the cup games. And it's playing for as I keep saying, playing for Spain as number 9 and playing for Leeds United for number 9 is two completely different tasks. Two completely different tasks. So we've seen it against Hull in the League Cup, and we've seen it even against Crawley. It wasn't working. You know, we all said the same about Eddie and Nketiah. We all said the same about JK. We all said the same about, you know, Roof and Bamford's comparison when Bamford was a better player. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you have just joined, I need to get going now, so make sure you press the playback. Thank you so much for joining in. Slap a like on the video. Get your comments in the section below. Would you start Llorente? How would you start? I want to know the formations. I want to know how you think the game's going to pan out. I'm going to get your predictions in as well in the comment section below. I'm going to go with the Leeds United 3-1 victory. I think we're going to be too good for them. We're going to be too much for them. I'll be absolutely mortified if we lost this game, and that's how I feel right now with this Leeds side. It's the best game for Leeds to bounce back in. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. As I said, guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you in a bit.